Hello, welcome back to my channel. I have my wife watching me today. It's going to be interesting. So you want to be a game master. It's going to be the, will you stop staring a hole in my empty heart? Alright, how to be a game master. You want to be a game master. Well, hope you like Pathfinder, because that's what I'm going to talk about. The core rulebook here, if you want to start out as a GM, you definitely want to get into Pathfinder. I definitely recommend that. It's rules heavy. You can just stick with the core rulebook. You don't have to expand upon it too fast with, Advanced Player's Guide and Ultimate Magic and Ultimate Combat. Oh, feel free to talk. Don't worry about it. But, another GM tool you might want to pick up is the GM screen. Something that you can kind of hide your roles or your notes, and also at the same time have all kinds of tables, formatted tables. Talking about, your skills that you would use, just a quick reference to look at things. With skills, with attack roll modifiers, attack armor class modifiers, concentration checks, common conditions, maybe that armor, weapon hardness, and hit points, perhaps. Maybe substance hardness. Treasure values. Just some quick references right there. GameMaster. GameMastery Guide is another book that you could pick up. It's a more elaborate exploration, detailing the duties of GM. The core rulebook does have a game mastery section in the back of the book, like chapter 12, but they do go over some things as far as examples of play. I think the most common concept, sort of a gleam or a view to an example of play, page 13 of the core rulebook, they give a brief scenario of the GM's interaction with the party members, describing what's going on in the backdrop, the scenery when they encounter a creature, and the rolls that are made, and the initiative order. The Game Mastery Guide also features another example of play. Calm down, guys. You can go on the YouTube channels and check out a lot of game sessions that are hosted online. You can tune into those and check out what they're about. Get a sense for the style of play as a GM, your duties: storyteller, entertainer, creator, instructor, moderator. Those are just some of the aspects to a game master. Just a little bit of a sort of brief history on my game mastery. Ran a few groups, very unsuccessful groups as far as local groups go. They were successful for a while, but in a very dysfunctional manner. But the online group that I have now is sensational, highly successful. Of course, they want to give the credit all to me, but really, without your target audience, your adoring fans, no, of course not. The players. The players is what makes it. If you don't have the players, you're just playing with yourself, right? My wife loves that. Alright, so my experiences as a game master. Didn't really have anyone to teach me, didn't have any sort of a concept to go with, any sort of way to mimic someone else's skills. I just kind of winged it with elements of a storyteller nature, trying to entertain and collectively gathering the players as a resource to kind of go over the rules, learn them as we go, and the more times you encounter the same aspects of the actual gameplay, you don't have to go to that page and look it up again. Things will start to click, things will start to flow. That's if you have all your players are new to the game. Now, the key examples of a truly successful game is when you have the players, they can handle their own resources, they interact well with each other, and really all you have to do is just worry about what you're going to run. You don't have to sit there and go over their equipment, you don't have to go over the rules with what their class can do, as long as they can read up on what their responsibilities are as a player, knowing how their class works, powers and spells, and leveling up their character. Really, that can lead for a very successful group. In my experiences, when you have a bad group is when they want to level their character during gameplay. They don't want to look anything up on their own time. They don't want to read anything. They want to get irate, pissed off, mad at you because they don't understand the rules, but they're not willing to read them. You introduce subsystems, and they don't want to even bother with it. One notable part of my game mastery of past was people want to be a captain of a ship. They don't want to know how to pilot the ship, but they want to tell people what to do. They don't know anything about boarding another ship, maneuvers in naval combat, but they want to be a captain. So, then again, you could maybe blame someone on the GM because he didn't push aside the mechanics and go more with a storyteller theme, a entertainer role. But yeah, I've had some really bad groups, but the only successful one I had was my online group, and that's only attributed because of them. It's not me. I don't believe I'm the one that holds it all together. Of course, I'm the one that steers the ship. But really, they're the ones that are working the vessel, maintaining it, keeping it going. They know how everything works, what to expect when things arise, a problem goes wrong, or whatever. This is all kind of vague, But yeah, that's my interpretation of a successful group. Some aids that you can use at your gaming table if it's going to be a local group. You can always pick up condition cards. Just some sort of reminder of what things are, what they do, maybe for your players so they can, when they want to remember what paralyze is, when their characters encounter that, if they happen to be staggered. Maybe using things from like a buff deck. Tells you what the spell, a buff, Magic Fang does, maybe what Mage Armor does, plus 4 armor bonus to your AC. Maybe you want to enhance your game with certain mechanics, such as, critical hit deck, critical fumble deck. Game Mastery guide goes over all that stuff. So, you can check that out. The Game Mastery guide has a lot of stuff about if you want to get into world building, designing your encounters, your campaign, story arc, linear versus non-linear, really in-depth, multi-layered information there, giving you a panoramic view of the Game Master seat, telling you everything there is to possibly know, things to watch out for, things to avoid, how to moderate, how to be an abjurer, a judge in a way, how to play fair. You can go over the core rulebook and go over the examples of combat. It just depends if you want to have more of a story element for your game, or if you want to be more combat focused. Now that really is going to set the stage for your players. Your players are going to determine that what they would like. I would always cater to the players. Try to give them what they want within reason. Do they want more combat? Do they want more storytelling? And with storytelling comes immersion, where you talk as though you are the character, and you try to limit the dialogue outside of the game. I've even seen people where if they need to say something out of character, they'll write it on a sheet of paper or something, and just hand it to the GM or the other player that they're currently discussing a matter outside the game. There's that kind of style. My current group, we're kind of keep it light. There's a mix of both. That way, we're not really subjugating anyone to a particular style. We're not really jockeying people's play style. So it's a mix of everything. Immersion. Getting into the character. Accents, engage in dialogue with the PCs, NPCs, villains and such, but also, able to be lighthearted, joke. Your jokes, you should make sure you don't, I try to get away from being too opinionated. That can lead to lots of problems. Personal views, I would try to tone down some things, be mindful, be respectful of others at all times. Sexual, racism, all that kind of stuff, you want to control that. I mean, of course, I can't really say that if there's going to be a bunch of Klansmen sitting down to have their own game session. I mean, nothing you can do about that, but just be mindful and respectful at all times. I think that's what led to my success as a game master. Be mindful, be respectful at all times. Always get a populated survey of if you're doing a good job still, everyone's still enjoying it, any improvements that can be made. But always be mindful of the characters. Try to give each one a spotlight. Play fair. Work to their strengths. Incorporate some kind of development through their story with the characters, through their abilities. That could lead for a very successful group. But really, your players are going to set the tone. I mean, in my past as game master in a horrible local group, I did everything I could as a game master. I made props. I had miniatures. I wrote stories. I commissioned art that I did myself, depicting the characters. I would get cardboard and I would build the maps out completely. I dedicated myself to the group, did everything I possibly could, and it didn't matter. If you don't have a good set of players, no matter what you do, no matter how much you entertain them, no matter how much they tell you that you're the best game master they've ever played with, none of that matters. None of that matters at all. It led for a tremendous downfall. Horrible, all the way around. People were fighting, opinions were going back and forth wild like crazy. No one cared about other people's feelings. Well, certain people really didn't care. I think other people just kind of stayed quiet, tried to stay out of it as best they could. It's just nuts. But the group I have now, it's just everyone's mindful, respectful. There's no drama, there's no fighting. Uh, and the one greatest thing of all is that they want to play. You need players that want to play. If you don't have that, you don't have a game. And that's exactly what I had in the past. I'm only good because my players are good. That's always going to be the factor. I'm always going to put them first when I decide what kind of adventure path do we want to play. I'm going to let them choose it. I'm going to let them pretty much tell me what we're going to do. I'm going to get surveys from them, see if things are okay, if things are still great. I mean, they think I'm the best, but really they're the best. And I think that's what's led for, year and a half worth of playing every week of a very successful, entertaining game. If you're curious about the style play, you can check out Ben at Goblin Bait YouTube channel. He's started to post most of our current sessions for our latest adventure path. So you can check those out for an example of play, but really you can go to any other YouTube channels for other people's sessions to kind of collectively get more of an idea of what sort of style of game mastering that you want to have. But yeah, starting off with the core rulebook, and I think a game mastery guide would be a good start. You don't have to know all the rules. And then you decide, do you want to make your own? That's probably the hardest part. I would go with either a module or a adventure path. The module, if you go with the later ones, are usually like 32 pages of content. The newer ones that are coming out now are like 64 pages. You just decide if you want just a very short, quick couple of sessions. It could last maybe a month to 3 months. Depending on how long you play it, how fast you go through it. That's one option. Otherwise, if you want to get right into it and you don't want to have to roll characters over and over, everyone wants to commit themselves to one elaborate, full-length story arc, then I would suggest a adventure path. You don't have to know all the rules, just as long as you get a brief overview of everything, and everyone collaboratively works together to kind of go over the rules and the examples of play, and then taking the time to stop to read what this spell does, what this combat maneuver is about. As long as you have the patience, the willingness to learn, it's fine. You don't have to sit there and study for months at a time before. But the key to successful game mastering, to keep the flow fast-paced, or at least moving along, so there's no lulls. I think the one thing that I can attribute to maybe why people would think I'm really good at it would be I read the crap out of it. I read it, I reread it, I read it again, over and over. I read it a few times just so that it sinks in there to where I'm not having to stop what I'm doing to read a couple passages of what's in this room, or having to look up what this particular ability does. Even just up when I'm about to run the game, I'll actually go through it again and read the overview of it, just so I kind of have that in the back of my mind, so that I can, not have to create too many instances of where there's just a period of silence. But really, if you have a great group of players, you're not going to really experience anything horrible, terrible. I think the ultimate style of game mastering would be doing everything story-based, doing everything on the fly, not having any sort of a plan or any sort of path, just doing everything improv. I think that's probably the ultimate style, the hardest, and those that can do it, that shows a tremendous amount of skill that they possess. I've seen people try it before and fail miserably. I wouldn't suggest that. The module or AP is a great way to start out. It gives you everything you need There's a good balance to the mechanics so that you're not leading your characters to potentially many total party kills. You don't have to sit there and create things from scratch, go over ecologies, and try to learn how to stack things up and determine how many monsters you need, and descriptors for the room, and deciding what sort of traps and treasure an AP or module will give you all of that. All you have to do is just read it all, get a good feeling for what's all there, try to incorporate the characters into that, rooting them into the story, and then you can decide from there what little tiny things you want to change here and there to make it more personable for your cast of characters played by your players. So, that's all I got, really. Just my take on you want to be a game master. You're only as good as your players. So, that's all I got. Until next time.